Hi, I'm Chef Gail Sokol and welcome to my kitchen. Today it's blueberries. We're making a blueberry streusel galette. You know, the freeform tart that's super easy with the flaky pastry. And blueberries are in season. And you notice what I'm wearing? I am a blueberry and they're gorgeous and everyone loves blueberries. Most people love blueberries. And I always make this for my dad because he can't have strawberries or anything with seeds, so it's perfect. So the first thing we have to do, you got me, before we get started, I almost started, but before we get started, I'd like you to click that notification button. I want you to become a subscriber, and I don't want you to miss one tip or video because I love having you in my kitchen, and I love showing you how to bake. So we're going to make a flaky pastry first. This is the crux of this blueberry streusel galette. This is what's going to make our blueberry dessert outstanding and flaky. I've had people swoon when they eat this. I'm not kidding. So I usually make it in a food processor. You can also use a pastry blender or just use a knife and fork because you're going to be really cutting your butter into your dry ingredients. So in my food processor, because I find it a little easier and quicker to do this, you want to take 1 cup of all-purpose flour. This makes like a 12 to 14 inch galette, so it's a good size. Feeds about 8 people, depending on how big you cut the slices. We cut them big. And I like a little nuttiness in there. This is white whole wheat flour. You can leave it out and just add another ½ cup of all-purpose. So this is ½ cup of white whole wheat flour. So right now I have 1 cup of all-purpose and ½ cup of white whole wheat, all right? And a pinch of salt. I'm going to give it a whirl just because I want everything blended. I don't want anyone eating this galette and getting a salty piece because that would not be good, all right? And let the dust die down. Open it up away from you. Woo, you can see it. And then 1½ sticks or 12 tablespoons of ice cold butter. It's got to be ice cold. That is the trick to a flaky pastry. Ice cold, and I cubed it. So it's about ½ inch pieces, ½ inch cubes. I'm going to put them in here, and they are ice cold. Some crazy bakers put the butter in the freezer. No kidding, they really do. All right, now I'm going to whirl it around until the butter is about the size of peas. Now, because my food processor likes to fling it back, I'm just going to cover it and just pulse, because if I don't cover it, I'm going to get flour in the face. Just pulse 8 to 10, 12 times. All right, get a feel for it, take it off. And you can see we do have small pieces. You see that? Now, this is my special ingredient. A teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Put it in there right now. It's an acid. You can use orange juice, lemon juice. Some people use vodka. What you do is this actually makes the dough more extensible. It makes it a lot easier to roll out when the time comes. And then we're going to add, see, I have this icy, beautiful ice water with the ice still in it. I'm going to measure out. I always get more than I need, and I'm going to measure out 1/3 cup. Whoop, get that ice cube out of there. We don't want you, mister. Get out of there. So we're going to add 1/3 cup of icy water. I'm keeping more water handy. I might need it. And you're just going to pulse until it incorporates. If you feel it's too dry, you can add a little bit more water. You don't want to add too much water. Water plus all-purpose flour, any type of wheat flour, together forms gluten. That matrix of protein that actually creates structure and strength, but can also create toughness. So we don't want a tough. Ooh, you see how that's holding together? That's a nice pastry. So we're going to take this, and I always do this. You've seen me do this in other videos. If this is your first time watching, I always dump what's in here in a bowl because I want to make sure I get everything blended And I make sure that the dough is at the perfect texture that I like. And I'm not going to knead it, but you can see chunks of butter in here. You see that? Chunks of butter. That's what creates the flakiness. So let's get rid of the water. And I'm just going to push it together. I'm going to push it together, and it's nice. It's going to be nice. You are a perfect dough. And now I need to chill it because we've sort of worked it a little bit and created some gluten by mixing. And that's a normal thing that happens. So we're going to take our beautiful dough and we're going to put it, and it's a little crumbly, and that's fine. Don't get scared of the crumbly. Don't add any more water if it's like this. This is perfection, people. This is a perfect flaky dough for a galette, for a pie, for a galette, for a tart, for anything. Perfect. Now watch what I'm going to do. I have a big piece of plastic wrap. I'm going to fold it up. It's as if you're putting your child in for a nap. And if you don't have any children, pretend you do. This is your child, and you're going to flip this under and push, 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 so it's like a disc. And you're seeing, look, I don't know if you can see, but there's bits of butter in there. That's what causes the flakiness. That is a perfect crust. Now, we're going into the fridge for about an hour till it gets nice and chilled. So while my flaky pie crust or flaky pie dough is in the fridge chilling, we can make our streusel. And that can also be chilled as well. It's very easy to do, and it can even be frozen before you use it. So what I have in here, and I'm going to whisk the dry ingredients up, is 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/4 cup of white whole wheat flour. So I'm following the same theme that we did with the crust. And it just gives a little nuttiness. You probably won't taste it, but it just gives just a little something extra. It's a little healthier. It's really, really good. All right, 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar, 2 tablespoons of dark, or you can do light brown sugar. I like the dark. And we have 3/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. Blueberries and cinnamon go really nicely together. Now, before I put I have 3 tablespoons of tiny diced cold butter. And before I put that in there, I'm just going to whisk everything up. And then the rest, I'm going to let my fingers do. So when I make a streusel, I like to get my hands in it. I don't want to use a spoon. You can use a pastry blender if you want, but that's for sissies. Get your fingers in it. Get your fingers in it. So this is ice cold cubed butter. And I'm putting it in here. And we're just going to do the old thumb and index finger, sort of the smear. You're just going to smear. Everybody smear. And we're going to cover the butter with the flour mixture and smear. See? Smear. And you're going to form like a streusel, like a clump, if you will. It's not a pretty word, clump, but like little streusel clumps. All right, and you're just going to keep doing that until your butter's incorporated and your flour and your brown sugar and all your luscious ingredients, your cinnamon, are all incorporated. You can even start using your hand and really smear it in there. You can get your aggressions out on your streusel because you're not going to be forming any gluten. And when you chill it, it just makes the streusel go on very nicely on top of our blueberries when we actually get our galette together. And it's just going to bake beautifully. It's going to be a beautiful, nice, crunchy streusel topping with that flaky crust and those incredible, juicy blueberries. They're going to explode in your mouth. I'm really getting carried away because I love it. I love it. I love it. So keep going. Just smear. I'm going to get the other hand in here too. We're not going fast enough. Just smear it, smear it. And you can see the clumps that are forming. That's what you want. You want clumps. Clumps is good. And when you put it in the fridge, you're going to form more clumps because you're going to see it sort of getting firmer because the butter's going to go back to the form it took in the fridge. It's going to be hard. All right, you see this? You see this? This is a perfect streusel topping for our blueberry galette. So I'm going to cover this. I'm going to put it in the fridge, and then we're going to get ready to roll and assemble our blueberry galette. So my blueberry streusel galette is ready to be assembled. I have the flaky dough has been chilled, and I rolled it out to about a 14-inch approximately round diameter. So give or take. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you want to make an oval, make an oval. If you want to make any other shape you want, make a shape. Try to make it round if you can. I have taken a pizza pan, and I have just a typical 14-inch pizza pan. I've covered it with parchment paper, and we have to build a little nest of something to thicken the juices from the blueberries. So in a small bowl, I have 3 tablespoons of flour and a 1/4 cup of granulated sugar and 3/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. I love that cinnamon theme, and we have it, remember, in our streusel as well. So I really like that. It really goes nicely with blueberry. I think lemon, cinnamon, one of those. If you want to add lemon zest, you can as well, but I sort of like to keep them a little separate. Otherwise, you get some muddling of flavors. Now you're going to take this mixture, and you're just going to put it into the center. Looks weird, right? And you're just going to spread it around. This will soak up any of the juices that the blueberries exude. They exude. I love that word. And I have 4 cups of fresh, not frozen, fresh blueberries. They're dry. I washed them. I dried them on a kitchen towel and sort of gently rolled them. Look out for stems. Look out for any, ones that are squishy. You might want to get rid of those, okay? I have 1 egg that I have beaten lightly, and I'm going to use that to adhere our crust because we're going to flip it over. So I'm just going to go around the edges of my galette dough, my beautiful flaky dough. And I do this also on pies too. There we go. All right. And now the blueberries. We're going to put the blueberries on here. Make sure they don't roll off. We don't want anybody to escape. So you got to keep them in there, and you want to mound them. All right, sort of mound them up. Keep them on that base of sugar and flour and cinnamon, if you can. This is about 4 cups. Some of them want to leave the party, but that's all right. We'll get them back. Okay, you guys. And if they get out a little bit, you want to have a border of about 2 inches. So just get them there. And if they're really puffed up there like that, they're not like single file, it looks gorgeous. All right. So now we're going to lift up our edges, and we're going to go over the blueberries, and you're just going to make like a little ridge over them so that they don't escape. And this is the crux of a galette or a free-form tart. You're just going to pick it up. And if it gets a little messy and it's not perfect, it's not supposed to be. This is really peasant food, right? Count me in. This is really good food. And whatever is in season, I've used apples, I've used plums. I have some videos as well with other fruits. And then you're going to push down, because you want, and that's where the egg wash comes in, just to make sure that you get that beautiful border. Now, I'm going to you can take the bottom of a springform pan. This is like a giant offset spatula, and I'm going to transfer it, hopefully. Say a little abracadabra for me. Please say a Harry Potter spell so I can do this. You ready? Let's see if I can do this. If it breaks, wait a minute, hold on. I don't feel like I have it. Get shush under there. And we're going to use this other one. And we're going to transfer it over. Woo! It worked. It worked. Thank you. Thank you. And now we're going to take our streusel. But before we take our streusel, I'm going to take a little more egg wash. Just go over the edges so the streusel will go all over. And then after it comes out of the oven, when it's all bubbly and everything, before we serve it, we're going to dust it with some confectioner's sugar. Yum. This is the perfect summer dessert with a little vanilla ice cream, some whipped cream, or just as it is. Any leftovers are good for breakfast. I wouldn't know anything about that though. And you're going to just literally douse the blueberries with the streusel. Ah, gorgeous. And we're just going to go all around with some streusel. It's going to get nice and crispy. Yum. Oh, it looks so good. Just douse it. Just douse it. Just douse it. I'm streusel happy. And this is going to go into a 400-degree oven, 400-degree Fahrenheit oven for about 40 minutes. And you're going to go by color. So you want to see a really nice golden brown color, and you're going to see some bubbling of the fruit. Bubbling of the fruit means you're done. See you back. So my blueberry streusel galette has just come out of the oven, and the blueberries were bubbling, and everything looks so beautiful together. It's sort of like getting jiggy with each other, all the ingredients, and I have just a little bit of confectioner's sugar, and I have it through a sieve, and I'm just going to give it a good go around. It just looks so pretty like this. And you can serve it, like I said, with ice cream, vanilla, flavored whipped cream, or just by itself for breakfast. With a nice hot cup of coffee, or iced coffee, or cold brew. Yum, yum, yum. I'm going to keep going with this. I like this. Oh, I like this. And it smells awesome. All right. Should I cut a slice? Oh, yeah. All right, I got my big knife because I need the big knife. So I'm going to hack it. Are you listening? You hear it? And it's still warm. Oh, I love it when they're warm. All right, we're going to cut a nice big slice. You hear that? That's our beautiful crust. I guarantee if you want to impress anybody, if you want a marriage proposal, this is the dessert for you. Oh my gosh. It's so gorgeous. Look at that. It's, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's so beautiful. It's, mwah. I hope you make this blueberry streusel galette. You will make many new friends. I hope you become a subscriber. Till next time.